Imagine, way before we figured out writing, our primate cousins are hanging out in the jungle. Some overripe fruit drops into a puddle. Wild yeasts, those invisible little microbes drifting through the air, land on the fruit, chow down on its sugars and, boom, start pumping out ethanol. Any animal bold enough to try that fruity mush gets a little tipsy. But here's the twist. That simple chemical accident wasn't just fun for monkeys, it would completely change the story of human civilization. Fast forward to 7000 BCE in Neolithic China. Archaeologists dug up pottery jars with chemical signatures of an ancient brew rice, grapes, millet, honey, all mixed and fermented together. This was no jungle accident. People were gathering ingredients, controlling the process, and most likely throwing some epic communal feasts. By 3500 BCE, humans had turned fermentation into science. In Mesopotamia and Egypt, beer made from grain was part of daily life, so essential that workers building the pyramids were basically paid in beer. Why? It was calorie-rich and honestly safer to drink than the water. At the same time, Greeks and Romans were planting vast vineyards, transforming grapes into wine. A jug of wine was as common as a loaf of bread at the dinner table. But here's what I love. Every culture got creative with fermentation. In Mexico, people fermented agave sap into pulque. In the Andes, chicha was made by chewing maize to break down starches before fermenting. Japan developed sake from polished rice and koji mold. And in East Africa, banana beer and palm wine were, and are, brewed from local fruits and saps. Of course, there were limits. Natural fermentation can only reach about 12 to 14% alcohol before the yeast can't handle its own waste. For centuries, that was as strong as drinks got. Enough for a buzz, sure, but nothing wild. Then came the real game-changer, distillation. In the 9th century, Arabic chemists figured out you could heat fermented mash, capture the alcohol vapor, which boils off before water, and condense it into strong spirits, sometimes up to 60% alcohol. These waters of life started as medicines, but it didn't take long for people to realize spirits were perfect for trade. They didn't spoil on long voyages, unlike beer. Spirits would go on to shape the world, fueled exploration, powered economies, and, let's be honest, played roles in some of history's darkest chapters, like the slave trade. But fermentation itself stayed at the heart of almost every culture and ritual, from sacred wines to lively tavern nights. So next time you enjoy a beer, a glass of wine, or a shot of something stronger, remember, you're tasting a tradition that started with wild fruit, wild yeast, and a little prehistoric luck. Like this deep dive into fermentation's origins? Hit subscribe for more science stories that stirred the world.